Good day, Hudson Valley. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and welcome to the show. Today we're talking a little bit of business, and there's two issues that I think are usually on business people's minds quite frequently. And one is referrals, and the other one is, how do I pay for all this stuff? We have two really interesting guests. One is Kevin Brown, and he is the CEO of Hudson Barter Exchange. And we also have Kurt Heittman, who is the CEO of the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about bartering as a way to generate referrals and also to pay for things in a unique way. Welcome.
Thank you.
So talk a little bit about your company.
So we started 8 years ago. We have over 600 business owners, small, mid-size, even large companies throughout the 4 surrounding counties who trade capacity for what they need. So it's everything from lawyers, dentists, accountants, web designers, limo services, theaters, and everybody has a little bit of extra capacity. We market you to the other members of the exchange and find you a little bit of incremental business, which you absorb in your regular schedule, and then you trade that for things you need.
Yeah. What I like about your setup is, I mean, people have been doing bartering forever, right? But what sometimes happens is, you have somebody who's maybe a doctor and you have somebody who's maybe a landscaper. Well, doctor needs a landscaper, the landscaper needs a doctor, but it's not always equitable. You have sort of cracked the code in terms of enabling everybody to kind of get what they want and still making it fair, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I'd love to claim that I'm some inventive genius, but it's a very common enterprise. There are 800 companies who do what I do, but what happens is everybody works in an electronic trade currency. So basically you bill at your prevailing rate, you get credit in your online bank account for that number of, we call them barter dollars, electronic trade credits, and that way everybody charges what they're worth. So an IT professional who charges $100 an hour doesn't like to work for 4 hours for that dental appointment that was 35 minutes and cost $400, but now it's an even trade. So that way everybody walks away satisfied that they got fair value for their trade.
I love it. Okay. So, Kurt, how long have you been working with Hudson Barter?
Actually, we just started most recently. It's almost, about 4 months ago. Kevin had approached me with my other company, CP Communications, and we provide audio and video equipment to the broadcast and entertainment industry. And Kevin came up and met with me at one of my offices and said, listen, this is what we do. And I said, it's just really not fitting for me because we're more of a corporate to corporate, okay? And I don't think a lawyer's going to want to rent some radios from us, to make it very simple, right? So, but then I also have, Paramount Hudson Valley Theater. And that worked perfectly because we always have some tickets to give away, all right? Whether it's comps that we keep at the theater or it's a smaller show, right? And we have major needs in the advertising area, in marketing, in print, and so that works really well. So we put together a plan, and immediately we went and put together a deal with an advertising agency, and that's working very well. And I will say that one of the things that I like about what Kevin does is that he doesn't just say, okay, sign the contract, here you go. He's actively promoting everybody, and he's actively promoting the Paramount Theater because if I don't sell tickets and get, you call them barter bucks to me, but barter dollars in my bank account or in the exchange, then I can't trade for other services. So, by being active, proactive about it, that's right now the difference that I see with with what Kevin's doing with Hudson Barter Exchange.
Okay. So in your case, you needed advertising, marketing, promotional support. So you put in the request, and then, but you still have to earn your value as well, right? So does he have to simultaneously have his bucks in the bank before he can take advantage of what he wants? How would that kind of...
Well, it's a good question. If you talk to people who are in the know of the barter business, what they actually call a retail trade exchange, which is what we are, we're actually a credit facility. So we offer businesses credit lines in order for them to do what they need to do right now And then we go out and we sell their services to the other members to pay ourselves back. So that way we create liquidity in the exchange, so there's dollars flying through the exchange at all times, but it also gives a business owner an opportunity to not write a fat check or plop down a lot of cash on something they need, and it works for both parties. So we're always evaluating the credit worthiness of people, and that's how we start members out with some sort of credit line so they can do what they need to do now.
Okay, that makes sense. So how does this work in terms of paying taxes? Is it considered income or revenue?
Well, from the sales tax perspective, anybody who collects sales tax, a restaurant, a limo driver, whatever it is, they collect sales tax at the point of sale and handle that themselves. So we don't deal with sales tax. As far as the income goes, by February 15th of the year, we sent out 522 1099-B forms. The income goes right on your tax return. It's reported and recorded to the IRS.
Okay.
In fact, when we go to open an account, the first thing they ask for is a tax ID number. So the government's going to make sure they get theirs, as always. But if you're using it for, business expenses, office cleaning, printing, things that people tend to use it for, it's all deductible against it, just like cash expenses are.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So does anything ever go awry? I mean, is anybody ever dissatisfied with an arrangement? And what happens in that case? How do you troubleshoot that?
Because we have such a broad array of company and company owners, we do as much due diligence as we can to make sure that they're solid corporate citizens. Can I tell you that there's never been one who used us to get in and then try to convert every deal to cash? Of course, we've had our circumstances, but we spent 8 years building this, and we have very little tolerance. So if anybody abuses the system, we kindly dismiss them with a very lovely written letter that says your services will no longer be trading through the exchange.
Right.
Generally, it requires honorable people to hold up their end of the deal and do what they came on board to do.
Okay. And is there any social networking aspect in terms of, or even like Yelp, for example? So if, Court is using this advertising agency or whomever he's working with and he's happy, does he have a way to rate that company or, enter comments or anything like that on the site?
Sure. If Court is using a company and he's paying them in barter dollars, that's merely his method of transaction. That's the remunerative process. It should have no bearing. He should have every expectation that that company is going to do the same professional job that any company hired for cash would do. And therefore, if he's really happy, it's great for our companies when he goes on Yelp and puts in a great review.
Okay.
You know how effective that is.
Yeah.
And to the contrary, how damning it can be when somebody has something negative to say.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if you had that on the site as well.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. We find that, first of all, the people who have a complaint are much more vocal than the people who are positive.
True.
What we do is in our quarterly newsletter, we send out a slew of testimonials from one member or another saying how great their experience was with other members of the company.
That's good. That's great. So what's the cost of entry to work with you?
Well, we charge a $399 lifetime membership fee, so it's not particularly expensive. And then what we do is we charge a transaction fee on every trade.
Okay.
And we also have some monthly fees that allow us to fund all of our networking events. So we have 3 major networking events a year where we'll have 150 business owners in the room, and it's always heartwarming for new members to come in and be like, wow, I can trade with all these people, that's great.
Yeah. And when do you do those?
We do them in every season except the summer. Summer's a little tough. If I can't get a lot of people in the room, it isn't worth really the time, effort, and energy. But there are certain professions that are very difficult to trade from somebody you find on a database. So people don't want to change their accountant necessarily. But if you spend some time at a networking event talking to one of our 5 different accountants, you walk out and they say, well, I'm crazy to spend cash on my accounting. These guys are brilliant. They'll do the job. Same thing with a dentist. Everybody says,
the dentist.
oh, I wouldn't change my dentist. I've been seeing him forever. But you meet some of the dentists at the thing, you're like, well, he certainly seems like a competent dentist.
Yeah.
But people always change dentists when they need root canal. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I never changed my dentist. Here's the $3,500 bill. Who's your dentist? Who's your dentist?
Either that or go to Brazil. I mean,
Right.
that's my choice.
There's another option.
Yeah.
You may need
Indeed.
more medical services after you get back from
But
Brazil.
you could
than
always
dentistry.
refer your dentist to Kevin and then maybe get him into the barter exchange.
There you go.
So
That's right.
Right,
That's
so,
right. So do you think? I mean, I guess the economy is, quote unquote, supposed to be getting better. I don't know, but let's just assume it is. When you initially got involved in your business, things were, I think, a bit tighter. I remember you and I talking about this. So, are you seeing a difference in terms of the popularity of bartering and what you do then versus now, or vice versa, or it doesn't matter? It's always a great option when people understand how it works. They're turned on to it and they want to do it.
Well, we've learned a lot as we went along. When we first started, you're right, we were in the teeth of a recession, and we were thrilled because we figured, okay, everybody has capacity. Nobody's working at 100%, and that's true. However, in order to trade, you have to cover your end of the trade. Everybody has an expense. So when you barter to go into a restaurant, it costs them 35 cents on a dollar for food. Whoever you use, they have gas costs, material costs, whatever it is. In good times, companies don't stress about covering their end of the costs. They also, this week we put out $25,000 worth of Yankee tickets to members. We sold them like that.
Wow,
In the
yeah.
tougher times, people are like, I really want to use my barter to go to the dentist. I really want to use it to get my landscaping done. I don't
Yeah,
really want to have fun. So
yeah.
now they're using it for much more
Entertainment.
openly, much more vigorously. So
Yeah.
it's really good.
Somehow that doesn't feel like disposable income,
Yeah.
right? When
Yeah.
it's a transaction that's electronic and it's not really, okay,
Yeah,
I
you
got to
don't
go pay
feel
cash
it.
for those Yankee tickets, which, are more expensive than come to the theater because they're cheap. It's cheaper.
I was just
But
going to
no,
say, yeah.
But no, really, it doesn't feel like it may be your disposable income, but it doesn't feel like it because it's goods and services that you're trading. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool. So.
I never told Court this, but I was so excited to sign up the theater
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I love music, and
Yeah.
we just went to the Kansas show there, and
Oh, how was
God,
it?
not only there's not a bad seat in the house, the sound is spectacular. Court's the host with the most up on stage, and afterwards the band came out to the front of the stage, shook everybody's hand. I used to line up the Lay's plastic chip things and play drums to Carry On Wayward Son when I was 7 years old. So it was a thrill. It was
I
really
know,
a thrill to go to the show.
You have to tell us. So who is some of your marquee acts coming up?
Well, June 25th is our 86th anniversary. So the theater's 86 years old. It was built in 1930. It opened its doors June 26th, and June 25th happens to be Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, okay.
So I can't
Wonderful.
get any bigger than that in Peekskill.
No.
And we had Pat Benatar on Wednesday night with Neil Giraldo. Melissa Etheridge is coming in. America's coming back. Grand Funk Railroad is next week. So the list, it took 3 years to build, and
Yeah.
just like building an exchange, when we took the theater over 3 years ago, it was closed. The doors were shut,
Yeah.
and what a shame that was.
Yeah.
A beautiful redone theater with closed doors. So, in 3 years, we're on, it's what's called a circuit, or you're on the routing. So William Morris says, hey, we like what these guys are doing, and now we're building a relationship. So they're offering these artists to us, as opposed to us trying to go
Chase them.
find those artists.
Wonderful.
And that's a lot better for us.
Great.
And we've got David Tell, who's a hilarious,
Yeah,
funny
Penn and Teller,
comedian.
yeah.
He's coming this summer. So Boz Skaggs is also coming.
Oh, love that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
So
yeah.
we're pretty much putting Peekskill back on the map.
I mean, there's been a resurgence there, which
It is,
yeah,
yeah.
really wonderful. So
Yeah.
your site, I think we have a graphic for both of your sites, for both Hudson Barter Exchange as well as the Paramount Hudson Valley Theater, and hopefully you'll put it up. But it's HudsonBarterExchange.com, and it is
ParamountHudsonValley.com.
ParamountHudsonValley.com.
Yep.
Okay. So any other last words of advice? Anything else you want to share before we go off?
I just really excited to be working with Court. He's also allowed us to try to reach out to some of our members to sponsor his 86th anniversary program and
Great.
put advertising up on the screen. And I love representing them and talking to our members. Have some big companies I'm talking to about doing just that, because if you look at the room full of people, it's exactly who you want to reach as an advertiser.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, listen, we want to have you back again. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
got it.